After the band won the music championship, the bass girl jumped straight into Evan Foster's arms, my boyfriend, and screamed in excitement. Then she innocently explained, "I was just too excited, sis-in-law. Don't mind me." I smiled. "So when you're excited, you only like hugging someone who already has a girlfriend? No one else catches your eye, huh?" Evan immediately pulled her behind him and said with irritation, "She's just straightforward by nature. Not like you, getting sensitive over everything. It's nothing. If you want to break up, just say it." In that moment, I suddenly realized our relationship was only worth that much. So we broke up. I erased everything related to him and accepted the scholarship to study abroad. Evan thought it was just one of my usual tantrums, something he could fix with a few comforting words. It wasn't until he flew thousands of miles with a bouquet in his arms, hoping to make things right, that he heard a deep male voice say, "Mr. Foster, she was very tired last night. I'm afraid she doesn't have the strength to see you." Back at the celebration party where Evan and his band won, the atmosphere was wild and noisy. When I pushed the door open, I saw Lily Lynn, the bass girl, sitting very close beside him, casually picking up the glass of wine in front of him and taking a sip. "Your improv solo today was absolutely insane," she said. The judges were completely stunned. She draped her arm over Evan's shoulder. The lights reflected off the glittering straps of her camisole, sparkling so brightly they were almost blinding. The producer said, "We can get into the studio next week. Cheers to our lead vocalist." Evan smiled and clinked glasses with her. The entire band erupted in cheers, the atmosphere burning hot like fire. It wasn't until a long while later that Evan finally noticed me standing at the door. "Why aren't you coming in?" he asked. Several pairs of eyes turned toward me at once. I quietly walked to a corner of the room, sat down and clutched my phone so tightly my fingers turned white. On the school forum, Evan's band taking first place dominated all the trending posts. The most popular video was that moment, Lily Lynn, the only girl in the group, excitedly jumping into Evan's arms, hugging him tightly and yelling while he laughed, caught her, and spun her around in a doting circle. The comments were exploding. "A new rock couple has appeared. Evan Foster, Lily Lynn. Their visuals during the finals were insane. Hot boys, hot girl, a perfect match. Please just get married already, this chemistry is too much." Someone commented, "I heard Senior Evan already has a girlfriend, that campus beauty from Thanhua," but it was immediately refuted. "Are you new online? That's ancient history. They broke up ages ago." "Hey, sis-in-law," Lily said with exaggerated surprise, tilting her head at me on purpose. "Why are you sitting alone on your phone? You don't look very happy. Were we too loud?" I turned off my phone screen. Evan set his glass down and explained for me, "She's fine. She's just used to quiet places. She doesn't like noise." Lily dragged out a long "oh," then leaned even closer toward him. "But Evan, your personalities are totally opposite. How did you two even end up together? Who chased who first? I'm so curious." She blinked like a curious little cat. Evan answered casually, "We've known each other since we were little. Grew up in the same neighborhood. We just naturally ended up together." Someone nearby added, "Oh my God, childhood sweethearts. No wonder, deep roots." Lily suddenly giggled. "Maybe you two were too young back then to understand love. Honestly, I don't think you're a great match." Her carefree smile flashed across her face as her eyes skimmed over me. I curved my lips into a faint cold smile, lifted my gaze to her, and asked, "Oh?" I said, "If she's not a match for me, then is she a match for you? Should I hand you over to her?" The moment those words left my mouth, the entire room went dead silent. After being together for so long, I had never once put Evan in an awkward position in front of others. No matter how suffocated I felt inside, I always kept my anger quiet. They couldn't believe that the girl who was always gentle and reserved, could tear off that outer shell so openly. The atmosphere turned suffocating. Someone hurried to break the silence. "Don't mind her, sis-in-law. Lily talks without thinking. She absolutely didn't mean anything by it. Right, Lily?" Lily Lynn quickly raised her hand to cover her mouth, acting dramatically like she was surrendering. "Oh gosh, sis-in-law, I'm sorry, seriously. This stupid mouth of mine just says whatever it thinks. Please don't take it to heart." I only gave a faint smile and said nothing. Seeing I didn't respond, Evan frowned, set down his glass, and fixed his eyes on my face. Olivia, what are you doing? Everyone's happy today. Why are you ruining the mood? Lily's the straightforward type. She doesn't overthink things like you do. It was just a thoughtless comment. Was that really worth getting upset over? So in his eyes, I was the sensitive one, the person ruining the atmosphere, while Lily's thoughtlessness became something cute and innocent. My heart sank slowly, sinking into a cold bottom. Fine. If that was the case, then I'd ruin everything to the very end. I looked straight into Evan's angry eyes, picked up my phone, and opened Lily Lynn's profile page. There it was. Last month, the band practiced until 2 a.m., violating the school curfew. In the photo, Lily was wearing a large, oversized men's t-shirt, lying on a big dark gray bed, hugging a pillow, looking thrilled. The caption read, "Hehe, successfully stole the owner's bed. Poor Evan got kicked to the living room tonight, lol." Right below it was another picture, an extremely cramped guest bed, with half of Evan's face showing as he flipped the camera, the middle finger, looking helpless. I didn't stop. My finger continued scrolling. Last Wednesday, at a gathering for 3 of the band members, Lily was holding a half-eaten matcha ice cream, her other hand gripping Evan's arm tightly as she leaned half her body against him, biting into his ice cream. The caption said, "Choosing a flavor is too hard. A greedy pig like me wants both. Evan, let me take a bite, okay? Go ahead, hit me if you want." Finally, my finger stopped at her newest post, just minutes ago, right after the band won. It was a photo of Evan lifting her and spinning her around. The caption, "This moment belongs to us." I lifted my head, looked at Evan, and let out a cold laugh. "This is what you call straightforward and innocent?" Evan's brows tightened, his voice dropping low with clear impatience. "Olivia, you're bringing up old stuff again?" "That's right. Why, am I not allowed to?" I shot back, meeting his angry gaze without backing down. Any girl would know to avoid being ambiguous with a guy who already has a girlfriend. "Or do you have a problem with that?" I asked. Suddenly, Lily shot up to her feet, her voice filled with frustration and confusion. Evan was standing right next to me at that moment. I was excited, so I hugged him. So what? It was just a normal hug. Did it really have to be such a big deal? What, are you delusional? "She's right," someone quickly chimed in, trying to ease the tension. "Sis-in-law, it really was just excitement. In that moment, hugging to celebrate is completely normal. There was no hidden meaning." "Is that so?" I stared directly at Lily Lynn. I spoke each word clearly and deliberately. "What a coincidence, right? When you're excited, you only like hugging someone who already has a girlfriend. No one else is worth hugging?" "Is that it, Evan?" Evan suddenly shot to his feet, his expression dark enough to frighten someone. "That's enough. Stop making a scene for no reason. Everyone's happy today. Do you really have to ruin it? If you want to break up, just say it." "Fine, let's break up." The room went silent, as if time itself had stretched and twisted. I stared at him, and for a brief second, his figure overlapped with the memories of our childhood before separating again. Evan had always been like a small sun, raised in love, shining brightly everywhere he went, always the center of attention. But when I was 10, my family fell apart. My father cheated. Arguments filled the house every day, and I hid in my room, crying in silence. And it was then that little Evan climbed through my window, wrapped his arms around me, and whispered, "Olivia, don't cry, you still have me." Clumsily wiping my tears, he held out his pinky. "When we grow up, I'll marry you. I'll never betray you. I'll never cheat. If I lie, I'm a puppy." As the years passed, the foster family business flourished, and they moved into a luxurious villa. Meanwhile, my mom took me back to an old apartment complex. She became like a different person, throwing herself into work and coming home exhausted, barely more than an empty shell. Only when I brought home a perfect score did her eyes light up for a moment. I spoke less and less, burying myself in books, while Evan rarely cared about studying. He loved rock music, rough sports, and hanging out with friends. Starting from middle school, he was constantly chased by love notes and admiring glances. But he always slung an arm around me and proudly announced, "See? This is Olivia, mine, since we were kids." When college exam results came out, I was admitted to a top university as expected. Evan also got into a performing arts academy in the same city. On our move-in day, he pulled 2 suitcases ahead of me, talking nonstop. Look, Olivia, our schools are only one street apart. We'll date for 4 years, then get married right after graduation, okay? His eyes back then were both pure and burning with excitement as he described our bright future. But when did everything start to change? Maybe when that so-called interesting female bassist in his band began appearing more and more in his conversations, or when his phone started filling with goofy selfies of him and Lily Lynn, photos I had never seen before. Or maybe when he began complaining, "All you ever do is study. You don't understand anything about the band." His tone carried a distance he didn't seem to notice. Or perhaps it was even earlier, when he stood on stage shining under hundreds of screams, while I could only stand quietly in the shadows, looking up. Our worlds must have split long before tonight. Now, as he stood before me with eyes full of irritation and exhaustion, I suddenly felt everything turn meaningless. Yes, break up. I said it while keeping him in place, blocking him with a firm look. Maybe he never imagined that the girl who always followed behind him quietly, who was always gentle and enduring, could actually nod her head and speak those 2 words for real. Right then, Lily Lynn suddenly burst into tears. "What are you two doing? Why are you breaking up because of me?" "Evan and I, we're innocent. We didn't do anything." She panicked, grabbing Evan's sleeve while sobbing. "Please explain to her. It's my fault, okay? I'm sorry. Please don't break up. I can't handle this, I really can't." Only then did Evan seem to snap out of it. He stared at me, his Adam's apple moving slightly. "Fine, you said it?" I smiled. "Yes, I did." I turned and pushed the heavy door open, not looking back this time. As I walked down the road, the night wind blew away what little warmth I had left. Then my phone buzzed softly. It was a message from my advisor. "Olivia, regarding the full-ride exchange scholarship, have you discussed it with your boyfriend yet?" She said she understood we were still young, in love, and didn't want to be apart, but she still wanted to remind me that I had great potential and shouldn't let temporary feelings interfere with my future. My studies were still the most important thing. Without hesitation, I pressed send. "You're right, Professor. I'll take this opportunity. Thank you." She replied, "Good. The remaining spot goes to Lucas Nguyen. It'll be convenient for the 2 of you to take care of each other." Just as I stepped out of the campus gate, my phone buzzed again. It was a message from Lucas Nguyen. The professor informed me already. "Attached are the official forms for the exchange program. Please fill them out soon and return them to me so I can consolidate everything." The attachments were 2 neatly presented PDF files. I texted back, "Received, thank you." Immediately after, a new Excel file appeared, Exchange Prep Reference Checklist, version 1.2. I opened it and was shocked by how detailed it was, from the visa document checklist, recommended housing areas, instructions for local registration, all the way to essential medicines, different types of power adapters, and even the price list of supermarkets around the dorms. Everything was clear and meticulously organized. He added, "I compiled it based on experiences from previous students, just for reference." I thanked him again. He replied almost instantly, "No problem, Olivia. But I think you say, thank you, to me a bit too often." Even through a screen, I could picture the expression on his face as he said that. Lucas was the academic star of our group. He was always focused on research. Whenever I was caught up in trivial distractions, he would quietly straighten out an important part of my experimental report for me. Last time, when I had a fever, he silently handled my portion of the group data. Thinking back, it seemed the thing I said to him most often really was, "Thank you." So I typed, "Then let me treat you to lunch tomorrow." A few minutes later he replied, "All right, sleep well." Short and straightforward, closing the topic immediately. I set my phone down and, out of habit, opened WeChat Moments. Lily Lynn had just posted a new status. Who understands the misery of being framed as a homewrecker by some crazy woman? So unlucky. As if every woman in the world is dying to steal her precious beloved husband. Girls like that, so narcissistic, it's disgusting. In the comments, the band members rushed to comfort her. "Hugs, Lily. Don't be upset. Innocent people don't fear shadows. Ignore the crazy ones. Don't be sad, Lily. Next time hug me. I don't have a girlfriend yet. Hug all you want, puppy. Hug me next time too. +1. I curled my lips in a cold smile, added her to my block list, and shut off my phone. The next day in the dining hall, Just as I sat down to eat with Lucas, Evan's name lit up my screen as my phone vibrated violently over and over. I answered, and his voice exploded through the speaker, furious. Lily quit the band because of your insane behavior last night. She felt guilty and cut off all contact with me. What did she do wrong, huh? She's just laid back and friendly with everyone. What's the big deal? Why did you have to blow everything out of proportion and act unreasonably? You forced Lily to leave the group. Are you satisfied now? Satisfied? Listening to him defend Lily's innocence and fragility with every word, I let my lips curl slightly and stared at the phone. My voice came out clear and unmistakable. Very satisfied, I said clearly, then hung up the call without hesitation. When I looked up, I realized Lucas and Wynne had already returned, carrying 2 trays of food. I felt a little guilty. Sorry. I told you I'd treat you today. He pulled out a chair and sat down. Behind the frames of his glasses, his eyes were still calm and indifferent as always. Just put it on the tab then. Next time treat me to something better. I picked up my chopsticks and glanced at his tray. It was so plain and simple it bordered on flavorless, like something a monk on a strict vegetarian diet would eat. A lot of people liked him, but he always seemed to carry an invisible barrier around himself. He wasn't interested in material things, had no hobbies, ate mostly at the campus cafeteria, and devoted all his remaining time to research. But having someone that reliable beside me, even if I had to cross an entire ocean, made everything feel a little steadier. What I didn't expect was what happened the very next day. Evan blocked my path right outside the dorm. Olivia, come with me to apologize to Lily. The band can't function without her. We just signed a contract. Do you know you're ruining her future? Looking at his face flushed with anger, a face that suddenly felt like a stranger, I almost laughed at how ridiculous it all was. Is that so? I sneered. Great, perfect, actually. Evan looked stunned, as if my words had burned him. Olivia, how did you become like this? His voice was full of confusion, disbelief, even a hint of desperate hope. Become like what? I looked straight into his eyes. Cruel? Is that what you mean? Without waiting for him to answer, I continued. If Lily really left the band because of this, vanished from your world forever, never showed up again, fine. Then yes, you can call me cruel. But she won't. The band just signed a contract, they're about to make money. Why would she walk away now? This is all just a performance. Evan's face grew darker. Olivia, do you have to make a mess like this? Create drama? I let out a short laugh, suddenly exhausted. I don't have time for your games anymore. Evan, we're done. I'm about to study abroad. I have a mountain of things to prepare, documents, coursework, an entire future waiting. The last thing I should waste is my time and energy on people and situations that don't deserve it. Olivia. He reached out as if to grab my wrist, but I stepped aside before he could touch me. I just signed with the best management company. The producer likes me a lot. I'm about to debut and the future is bright. What more do you want? He demanded. I cut him off. Evan, those things were never what mattered to me. The spotlight, status, fame, they were never the reason I loved you. Even if you became the top star in the entire music industry. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes for a moment. I still wouldn't love you anymore. He froze, stunned by how decisively I said it. His eyes locked onto mine, burning with anger. You're being unreasonable. There's a limit. No one can spoil you forever. I said nothing. I simply turned and walked away. When disappointment reaches its limit, people don't scream or cry. They just stop talking altogether. From the moment he stopped standing with me, stopped defending me clearly, our 15-year bond had rotted from the inside. I continued preparing for my overseas program properly, no longer caring about any news related to Evan. But even so, I still saw glimpses of his band everywhere without meaning to. They passed their sound test, released their first album, and received decent feedback from the market. With his striking voice and flawless looks, Evan quickly gained a massive female fan base. The Evans-Lily duo, dubbed Lily's Evan, dominated the fandom spotlight. As for why Lily quit the band and then returned, no one knew the details. In any case, the band was hot. Because of that, Lily Lynn quickly became a rising face on campus. She even started her own live stream. On camera, she smiled brightly like a flower, her eyes sparkling with innocent sweetness. Her favorite topic was always her honest, straightforward personality. Since I'm the only girl in the group, they really pamper me like a princess, she giggled. The guys always take such good care of me. In the comments, someone teased her. So which band member do you like the most? She covered her mouth and laughed. Oh my gosh, what kind of question is that? Adults don't pick favorites. I pick them all. Heh. Soon after, someone brought up the rumor between her and Evan Foster. She immediately put on a shy expression, cheeks turning rosy. Don't ship us like that. Don't make it weird. How am I supposed to look Evan in the face after this? He's so handsome. Even I get embarrassed, you know? She pushed away lightly, then pulled the topic back, playing innocent with practiced precision. Then a comment popped up. I heard Evan already has a girlfriend? Lily's eyes lit up as if she had discovered some explosive secret. She lowered her voice playfully. Oh, can I say this? Whatever, okay fine. Since Evan isn't here, I'll secretly tell you guys something hot. I'm actually his ex. We already broke up. What was his ex-girlfriend like? Another comment asked. Lily tilted her head, pretending to struggle with the answer. She furrowed her brows thoughtfully. How do I say this? It's really hard to explain, but you guys know, right? Evan is friendly and outgoing, super easy to get along with. But the other girl, she seemed a little paranoid, like she always thought people were trying to steal her stuff. I was speechless. Sometimes I even felt bad for Evan. She sighed, her voice full of grievance and helplessness. She even treated me like some kind of enemy. I was terrified. I even left the band because of her, just to avoid misunderstandings. I didn't dare see Evan at all. Later on, he felt guilty and waited outside my dorm for 3 hours. He even got me that limited edition blind box I've always wanted. So I reluctantly came back. I mean, the band isn't at fault. Me walking away like that would have been irresponsible to everyone, right? Her emotional confession instantly set the entire comment section aflame. Poor Lily, having to deal with a crazy girl like that. Lily is too nice. Putting up with that psycho? She must be insane. Jealous and mentally unstable. Being dumped was deserved. After that, some people even dug up old photos of me and Evan, but the images of me had been intentionally distorted, edited in the most malicious way to look terrible. Comments poured in. I feel bad for Evan. How did he put up with that? He must have been blackmailed by her. Heard they were childhood friends, forced together by their families. My God, I need to wash my eyes. Lily is on a different level. Seeing the comments getting out of hand, Lily kindly added, Guys, don't talk about her anymore, okay? And don't dig up anything else. She's just a normal girl. Let's focus on our music, alright? I didn't care much about any of the discussions outside. I only focused on racing against time to finish all my paperwork for studying abroad. But as the band grew hotter, the fandom split sharply into 2 sides. One side was Evan's solo fans, devoted and unwavering in their love for their national boyfriend. The other side was Lily's personal fans, along with a massive crowd pushing the Lily-Evan ship. The 2 sides were like fire and water, fighting viciously online. Evan's solo fans criticized Lily relentlessly, calling her the classic green tea girl, saying one thing while doing another, claiming they were just friends while purposely acting intimate. Exactly, they said. The solo fans said, talking bad about someone's ex is such a huge red flag. Jumping straight onto Evan on the night they won, legs wrapped around his waist? How is that just friends? I spit on that. If anyone hears the real green tea girl, it's her. Her tricks are classic. Meanwhile, the CP fans clap back. Look at Evan's eyes when he looks at Lily, dripping with honey. Lily is clearly the one trying to keep her distance. Who's approaching who is obvious. Evan's girlfriend fans are just jealous. Their bond is natural, why make it a big deal? Things escalated during a live interview. The reporter jokingly asked about the relationship between Evan Foster and Lily Lynn. Evan, wearing sunglasses with a flawless expression, replied calmly, she's just a junior colleague, a good friend, a very talented artist. Lily beamed and immediately added, yes, we're just friends. Evan always takes good care of everyone in the group. Don't let your imaginations run wild, okay? But the reporter didn't let go. Then, Mr. Foster, are you currently single? Evan paused for a moment, then nodded. Yeah, single. What's your ideal type? For example, someone lively and pretty who shares your interests? Evan frowned slightly and replied with textbook formality. Right now, I just want to focus on my career. Music is everything to me. The moment the interview aired, Evan's solo fans went berserk. Hear that? Single. Focused entirely on his future. Someone should know her place and stop clinging. Stop playing the victim alone. As for me, since the day we broke up on campus, I hadn't contacted Evan once. Until the day before my flight abroad, I received a message from my old high school desk mate. Olivia, did you know Evan's on Singers Challenge now? OMG, he made top 3 among a whole lineup of insanely strong senior singers. He's blowing up. Big companies are scrambling to sign him. I casually tapped on the link. In the video, Evan looked completely different from the wild, reckless boy I remembered. Under the dazzling stage lights, he held an acoustic guitar and sang in a deep, steady voice, each word pouring straight into the heart of the audience. Below the stage, Lily Lynn was watching him with eyes soft enough to melt. The camera even captured a tear rolling quietly down her cheek. The comments exploded. We all knew Evan slays rock. Who knew he could kill us with ballads too? This song, Moonlight, is self-composed, right? It hits so hard. Every time I listen, I automatically imagine Lily as the female lead. She's literally the white moonlight from Legends. Lily is crying in the audience. What more proof do you need? The feelings are real, but the melody, it hurt in a way only I understood. That was the song Evan wrote for me when we were 15 on a summer night filled with starlight. Back then he said, Olivia, wait for me to stand on the biggest stage. The first song I sing will be for you, so the whole world knows you're the one I love most. And now, he really was standing under dazzling lights, singing our song, but the face beneath the stage was no longer mine. Instead, it was a sea of strangers screaming for him. And the girl inside that song, tomorrow she would leave him behind, leave that entire world behind, and fly halfway across the globe. At the airport, Lucas Nguyen pushed 2 large suitcases with steady hands. There was a kind of reliability about him that felt far beyond his age, always poised, always meticulous. From check-in to luggage drop, through security and even filling out the entry forms, every complicated procedure flowed smoothly through his hands. I just followed behind him and for the first time in a long while, felt completely at ease. I thought back to the times I traveled with Evan, how I always planned the itinerary, packed everything, worried about schedules, and tried to keep things from falling apart. He, on the other hand, was carefree, always forgetting things, always complaining. In the waiting lounge, Lucas Nguyen handed me a cup of something warm and a small piece of cake, matcha, lightly sweetened, exactly the way I liked it. Take a break, we still have a long wait before boarding, he said, pointing to the empty seat beside me. I accepted it, and a quiet warmth rose in my chest. Just as I sat down, my phone rang. I didn't even glance at the caller ID, my body reacted before my mind did, and I answered instinctively. Olivia. Evan's familiar voice came through, hoarse and trembling slightly. The necklace you gave me for my birthday last year, where did you put it? I can't find it anywhere. My fingers tightened around the phone, trembling just a little. And the blue tie we bought together last time, he added. Remember, you said it looked good on me. His voice sounded like he was muttering to himself, as if we had never broken up, as if nothing between us had fractured. My tone turned cold. Second drawer in your closet. He paused for a few seconds, then continued, as if encouraged. Then what about my underwear? Where did those go? You used to, Evan Foster. I cut him off sharply. We already broke up. The other end went silent for several seconds. Then his breathing came, heavy and uneven, carrying frustration and stubborn grievance. Then what about your stuff? He demanded. All the dresses I bought you, the bags, you left everything behind. Should I just throw them out? And your favorite stuffed bear? You don't want that either? Fine. Then what about me? You don't want me either. He took a deep breath, and when he spoke again, his voice was thick, as if he were swallowing tears. Olivia, you don't need me anymore either? I looked out the airport window at the crowds moving hurriedly in every direction. Listen to me, I said calmly. Evan, I don't need anything that has to do with you anymore. If you won't come get your stuff, I'll go get you, he snapped, sounding like a sulking child. In the past, whenever we fought, he always used retrieving his things as an excuse to make me come to him. And when I did, he would pull me into his arms and coax me with sweet words until I gave in. Maybe in his mind, this was just another small quarrel. a little coldness, a little attitude, something he believed he could fix with a few soft words. "I'll call a service to pick up your things," I replied. "Olivia, don't be mad." His voice softened, carrying a faint tremor of pleading. "Did you listen to my song?" I sang our song. The moment I started, everything came back, how we grew up together, every promise we made. "Olivia, we've been together so long. How can you just leave like this?" He hurried on, voice anxious. "Right now, tons of top producers are reaching out to me. I'm finally debuting, it's a sensitive time. I can't go public with you yet. How about we date in secret for a while? When I'm more stable, we'll announce everything." "Evan Foster." I interrupted him again, my voice steady and icy. "None of what you're saying has anything to do with me anymore." "If not you, then who?" he shot back. "You really want to break up? If not with me, then who are you planning to be with?" His tone carried a ridiculous certainty, as if no one in the world could possibly love me more than he did. He hesitated, as if lowering himself for once. "Fine, I admit I made you feel neglected before, and maybe Lily was a bit much, but I swear nothing happened between me and her." I let out a quiet laugh. "See? Evan, even you admit she behaved inappropriately. But before, what did you say? That she was just straightforward, innocent, carefree? You knew exactly what she was doing, you just enjoyed it. You liked being admired, you liked the ambiguity, you liked the thrill. In plain words, you just wanted something new outside our old relationship." As soon as the words left my mouth, Evan's expression, through the silence of the phone, was practically palpable. His voice came out unsteady. "Olivia," Evan said, his voice rising in frustration, "I've lowered myself this much. What else do you want from me? I promise I'll keep my distance from her. Just give it a few years until everything stabilizes, then we'll go public. I'll give you a proper title. Isn't that enough?" I couldn't help but let out a soft, bitter laugh. "Evan Foster, maybe in your eyes I'm just a boring, simple, plain girl, but my love doesn't tolerate impurities, and I can't accept someone who doesn't know boundaries when you know perfectly well what that really means. From the moment you didn't choose me, didn't have the courage to stand by me, everything between us ended. Starting today, you go chase your wide-open sky. Go find your fame and your spotlight, and I'll walk my own bright path toward my stars and my ocean. We end here." I ended the call. Completely. I blocked him without hesitation. Then I deleted every account, every feed, every page that might have anything to do with him. I erased every photo, every status, every moment marked with his presence. But 15 years. 15 years was too much, too long. No matter how much I deleted, it felt endless. Memories stacked so deeply they wouldn't fade. At 5 years old, he clumsily climbed through my window to wipe my tears. At 10, he rode me on his bike through streets filled with lilac blooms. At 15, he hugged a guitar and sang under the stars, his eyes burning like fire. At 20, he shone on stage while I sat quietly in the corner, taking pictures of his proud silhouette. Each photo, each fragment of memory, had once been proof of what I believed to be an unbreakable love. My fingers kept sliding across the screen, delete, mechanical, numb. Suddenly a line from an old poem surfaced in my mind. Every beginning is beautiful, but no ending is truly complete. Every love story starts like a dream no one wants to wake from, and the ending often arrives unexpectedly, like tripping in the dark. They say heartbreak is like being cut by a dull knife, slow, dragging pain until it finally bursts. And in that moment, sorrow rose inside me like a late tide. Tears fell onto the screen, not for him, but for myself. For the girl who spent 15 years giving everything, keeping nothing, for herself. Only when a tissue appeared in front of me did I remember that Lucas Nguyen had been sitting beside me the whole time, silently witnessing everything. Embarrassed, I grabbed it and wiped my face clumsily. "Sorry, My throat tightened, and I couldn't finish. Lucas extended his hand calmly. "Give me your phone. I'll help you delete the rest. You should get some sleep. You've been up since early morning. I'll wake you when it's time to board." He placed one side of an earbud into my palm. "If you can't sleep, just close your eyes and listen." Gently, he took the phone from my hand. After a moment of hesitation, I put the earbud in. Music flowed softly, the melody exactly the kind I liked. The tension in my nerves loosened little by little. Exhaustion washed over me like a rising tide. Somewhere between consciousness and sleep, I drifted off. When I opened my eyes again, Lucas's quiet voice sounded beside my ear. "Olivia, it's time to board." He placed my phone back into my hand. "All done." He looked as calm as always, austere, steady, composed, like a still lake. He didn't ask questions. He didn't intrude. He didn't even offer comforting words. And as the plane soared into the sky, the world outside shrinking beneath the clouds, an unfamiliar feeling spread through me. Lightness. Real, weightless relief. The plane landed. We went straight to the apartment I had rented in advance. I was sharing it with 2 local girls, while Lucas and Wen's place was just a short distance away. The first few days were anything but easy. My coursework was tight enough to snap. And when it came to food, my cooking skills barely extended beyond boiling things until they were edible. Fortunately, Lucas seemed to be some kind of multi-talented domestic war god. His cooking was incredible. At first, I felt too embarrassed to eat his food, but the smell alone was enough to break my resolve. Eventually, I thickened my skin, asked if I could join, and volunteered to wash dishes in exchange for meals. Unfortunately, sharing an apartment quickly became a true nightmare. One roommate held parties constantly, blasting music until morning. The other was so messy the common area looked like a miniature dump. I couldn't eat well, couldn't sleep well. After just 1 week, I looked noticeably worn down. One evening, while eating at Lucas's place, I accidentally let out a small complaint. He listened quietly from beginning to end, then put down his chopsticks, pushed up his glasses, and said, "Olivia, do you want to move in with me? My roommate just moved out, there's an empty room." He paused, then added, "It'll be easier for meals too." Between good food and sleep, I didn't hesitate for long. Besides, Lucas, from head to toe, radiated integrity and calm discipline. Living with someone like him naturally felt safe. After I moved in, my quality of life skyrocketed. I could finally sleep soundly. When I woke up, there was always a warm breakfast waiting. Lucas was almost obsessively tidy. Everything in the apartment was spotless and perfectly organized. I barely had to lift a finger for housework. After studying, we would try out new recipes together, go grocery shopping, prep vegetables, and cook side by side. Days passed peacefully and steadily. Still, sharing a home with a man came with a few awkward moments. Our laundry sometimes ended up drying side by side on the balcony. I avoided looking around too much as I quickly gathered my things, but my eyes still brushed over some of his dark-colored items, and even at a glance, the size was impossible to ignore. When we watched movies together on the couch, and the screen suddenly cut to a heated romantic scene, the air instantly tightened. A hazy awkwardness spread between us as we both looked away, unsure where to rest our eyes. The feeling was worlds apart from what I used to have with Evan Foster, that eternal man-child who never picked up after himself, ordered takeout whenever he was hungry, slept whenever he was tired, and left every piece of housework to me. Living with someone like Lucas, whose life skills were maxed out, I felt a bit overwhelmed. I had thought living with someone so quiet would be boring, but it was the exact opposite. We unexpectedly discovered we shared many interests. Academically, we were perfectly in sync, sometimes debating a research topic until midnight because neither of us wanted to yield. With him, there was always something to talk about, always something to share. Our joint experiment project reached its crucial phase, and we spent most of our time stationed in the lab. I barely kept up with entertainment news back home. But Evan's name popped up constantly, like a persistent ad I couldn't close. After making waves on the Singer Arena competition show, he officially split from the band and went solo. It wasn't surprising. Compared to other members, he was overwhelmingly more popular. Naturally, the company would pour their resources into the member with the highest commercial value. As for Lily Lynn, she found herself in an awkward position. She was just the bassist, with average vocals and an appearance that didn't stand out in an industry full of stunning faces. Her popularity plummeted quickly, leaving her with no choice but to accidentally mention the past during her live streams just to keep some attention. Meanwhile, Evan's solo career only skyrocketed further. His song Moonlight, which he'd performed on the competition show, was later chosen as the theme song for a hit TV drama. Both the series and the song exploded in popularity, and by the end of the year, Moonlight even won the award for Best Chinese Language Song. During his interview at the award ceremony, under blinding flashes of cameras, her reporter asked about his next plans. Evan went quiet for a moment before saying softly, "Next. I want to go find my moonlight." That very same day, Lily Lynn posted a vague, suggestive update. "Congrats to the most amazing singer in my world." Attached was a photo of Evan hugging her. The internet immediately erupted. Everyone started speculating that the Lily-Evan ship was about to go public. Countless female fans of Evan announced they were quitting the fandom in anger. Holding the trophy in his hand, Evan felt strangely dazed. Everything he had dreamed of, he finally achieved, yet there was a hollow emptiness inside him. His apartment was still filled with Olivia's leftover belongings. He remembered clearly. She had truly sent someone to collect her things that day, but he'd been so furious, he threw them out and chased the people away. He had already lowered his pride for her. How could she be so heartless? He had cut off contact with Lily Lynn and focused solely on his career. In the future, he would give Olivia a good life. She could pursue her academics in peace, he would earn enough for both of them. Now he had fame and money, but joy never came. The fireworks, the applause, the cheers, none of it could fill the void in his heart shaped like Olivia Lane. This time, Olivia was truly angry. He had to coax her back no matter what. But no matter how many times he called, no one picked up. Every account he had to reach her was gone. He even went to her university and asked around, only to be told she had left the country for an exchange program. Panic hit him like a wave. He told himself he would have supported her studies regardless. But now, he felt uneasy, anxious in a way he never had before. He had never wanted to see Olivia so desperately. This time, he would make things right, by any means necessary. She would surely forgive him. After all, they had been together so many years, and she'd always been soft-hearted. He bought her favorite flowers. After a lot of effort, he found the address where she was staying. Over 20 hours of flights and transfers left his body exhausted, but all he could think about was finally seeing his girl again. His heart thumped wildly, like the first time he held her hand back in high school. They had never been apart this long. He felt like he'd lost his anchor. He silently vowed that after this, once they reconciled, he'd go back home and publicly announce their relationship, letting the whole world know Olivia belonged to him. Standing before her door, he felt nervous. He knocked for a long time, but no one answered. Finally, the door opened a crack, but the person behind it wasn't the girl he'd been dreaming of. It was a tall man in loungewear. "Who are you? Where's Olivia?" Behind the glasses, the man's eyes were cold, guarded, hostile. "She's still sleeping." "What is that supposed to mean?" "I want to see her," Evan said, panicked. Lucas Nguyen's lips curled slightly in a cold sneer. "She doesn't want to see you. She was exhausted last night. We went to sleep very late. She doesn't have the energy to deal with you right now." Evan froze. She was very tired. We went to sleep very late. Each word stabbed into him like tiny needles. "Olivia, come out. I want to see her," he shouted, furious and desperate. The bedroom door was only half closed. Their voices reached me through my sleep, dragging me awake. Last night, Lucas and I had stayed up until 3 a.m. finishing our lab work, completely drained. "Lucas." I staggered as I slipped my feet into my slippers, yawning as I stepped out of the room. "What time is it?" I only closed my eyes for a moment. When my eyes finally focused, they landed on a man standing in the doorway, holding a bouquet, his expression twisted with anger. My words died halfway in my throat. I froze. Evan Foster. What on earth was he doing here? Evan's red-rimmed eyes locked onto me and refused to move. "Olivia, who is he?" he demanded. "You broke up with me because of him, didn't you? Are you two living together now?" He stepped forward, voice cracking with rage. "Did you two sleep together already?" I looked at him, disheveled, frantic, losing control, and a small, cold smile curved on my lips. "Yes, we slept together. So what? What does that have to do with you?" His entire body trembled. The bouquet slipped from his hands, roses scattered, crushed against the floor. My icy tone seemed to hit him like a blow. His voice suddenly collapsed into helpless pleading. "Olivia, don't be mad anymore. Please, let's fix things. I know it was my fault. All of it. How could you ever like someone else? You must still be angry at me, right? You're just trying to provoke me, aren't you?" "Mr. Foster." Lucas's calm voice cut in, cold, sharp, and merciless. "Delusion is a medical condition. I suggest you have your mental health evaluated. What the hell? Who the fuck are you? Evan snapped, rage flaring. The provocation sent him over the edge. He lunged forward, fist raised. You took advantage of the situation, didn't you? You home-wrecking bastard. Olivia and I have been together over 10 years. Can you compare? What right do you have? Lucas caught his wrist with swift precision and replied steadily, those 10 years are exactly why you hurt her. Again and again. If that's what you call love, then it's pathetic. That's not true. Stabbed straight through his weakness, Evan panicked. He grabbed my hand desperately. Olivia, I'll fix everything, okay? Whatever I did wrong, I'll fix it. Please don't leave me, I'm begging you. No one in this world loves you more than I do. You said you'd always stay with me, we'd never be apart. What does he have that I don't? Only with me will you ever be truly happy. His voice shook uncontrollably. His eyes were bloodshot. A teardrop even fell onto the back of my hand. It was the first time I had ever seen Evan cry. Listening to his late, broken confessions would have shattered me once, but now my heart didn't move at all. It was too late. Everything was too late. I looked at him quietly. My voice was soft, but my words cut cleanly. When I'm with him, I don't have to worry about girls throwing themselves at him. I don't have to force myself to fit into parties that make me uncomfortable. I don't have to fear that my silence will be seen as being boring. I sleep well, I eat well. He makes me feel safe, light, and lets me live as myself. Olivia, Evan grabbed my hand again, frantic. I pulled away. Evan Foster. I once loved you enough to endure everything. I tried, again and again, but when disappointment piles high enough, love simply blows away. I don't love you anymore. Why can't you understand that? In that moment, it was as if all the strength drained out of him. He could only stare at the girl who once loved him so blindly, now calmly speaking of another man. Each word I said carved into him like a blade. His lips parted, but he couldn't speak. Any explanation now was useless, ridiculous. He had lost. Completely. Lost so thoroughly there wasn't even a path left to crawl back on. When the door finally closed, only Lucas and I remained in the living room. The air was tinged with a strange, subtle awkwardness. Thinking about how I had used him as a shield earlier, guilt prickled through me. Lucas, just now, I only said those things so he'd give up completely. Don't mind what I... Before I could finish, the moment I turned, Lucas's tall figure stepped forward, closing the distance until I was trapped between him and the wall. Olivia, he said, his voice low and rough, I don't want to be a boyfriend in name only. I blinked, caught off guard. So, what exactly do you want? His gaze on me carried a pressure I had never felt from him before, intense, burning, almost overwhelming. Before I could process it, his lips brushed mine, light but heated enough to make my mind explode. Lucas Nguyen was kissing me? How was this even happening? The edge of his glasses brushed my nose, making me flinch, and I thought he might stop. But instead, he reached up, removed the glasses, set them on the cabinet beside us, and then his mouth pressed against mine again, this time deeper, hotter, consuming, leaving me nowhere to escape. I froze completely. Was this really Lucas Nguyen, the calm, disciplined, almost ascetic Lucas I knew? Why did he feel like he'd completely snapped? At first I tried pushing him away, my hands braced against his shoulders, but he was immovable, solid like a wall. Slowly, my resistance crumbled under the heat and urgency of his kiss. I didn't know how long it lasted. When he finally pulled away, I bolted straight back to the bedroom, collapsing face first onto my bed. I rolled around like someone whose entire world had been shaken. Great. Perfect. The annoying problem named Evan Foster was handled once and for all. He definitely wouldn't cling to me after this. But now... Lucas Nguyen. He turned the wheel too sharply. I didn't know what to do with him at all. Olivia, dinner's ready. His voice came through the door, calm as always. So calm you'd think the man who kissed me breathless minutes ago wasn't him at all. I buried my face in the pillow. How was I supposed to face him now? We were research partners, working together perfectly fine, and then suddenly a kiss? How was I supposed to live with him after this? What about our research project? Who would cook for me now? Wait, why was I thinking about food at a time like this? Focus, Olivia. Just as I was internally spiraling, the smell from the kitchen drifted through the crack under the door. Sour fish stew, braised pork, rich and fragrant. My stomach betrayed me instantly. Olivia, get up and eat something, he called again. Okay. At the combined assault of hunger and good food, my self-respect shattered instantly. I shuffled out and sat at the dining table, immediately diving into the dishes. They were delicious, unfairly delicious. Lucas sat across from me, completely composed, acting as if nothing had happened. He even casually picked food for me like he always did. I choked on air. He immediately handed me a glass of water. Eat slowly. I took it, gulped a few sips, then gathered all my courage and lifted my eyes. About this morning. I dragged you into it without asking and said all kinds of things. It was my fault. So, can we just call it even and forget it happened? I lowered my head quickly after speaking. Call it even? Forget it? Lucas set his chopsticks down and looked at me unhurriedly. His stare made my face burn. I protested weakly. You kissed me. He cut in calmly, ignoring my flailing tone. You told someone we were in a relationship. You're enjoying the security services I'm providing, so why not consider making it real? I went speechless. My heartbeat went haywire like it wanted to break out of my chest. I just broke up. I'm not planning to date anyone right now. Oh, Lucas's tone softened, almost amused. Then when do you plan to? I should schedule my spot in advance. He said it with such natural seriousness it felt like we were casually discussing lab scheduling. I answered on instinct. Maybe 1 year? That's too long. Lucas frowned, clearly dissatisfied. Half a year? I tried shortening it carefully. He pushed his glasses up the bridge of his nose and spoke slowly. From a psychological standpoint, the average recovery time after a strong emotional shock, such as heartbreak, is 3 months. And Olivia Lane, your resilience has always been evaluated as above average. Fine. I murmured hazily, feeling something wasn't right at all. Why did it feel like I'd just sold myself and signed some kind of relationship contract starting in exactly 3 months? Time passed. Between the whirlwind of academic pressure and the increasingly ambiguous atmosphere between us, the entertainment world back home was exploding almost weekly with scandals that shoved themselves onto my screen with outrageous headlines. One early morning, I unlocked my phone and was instantly jolted awake. Breaking. Top star Evan Foster and Lily Lynn suspected of living together, spotted leaving their love nest at dawn. Attached were photos of Lily Lynn wearing a flimsy spaghetti-strap nightdress, stepping out of Evan's apartment, looking panicked as she tried to cover her face. The news blew up the entire internet instantly. I knew something was off between them. So she is the real Moonlight he talked about. He literally said he was going to find his Moonlight at the awards. Turns out it was her. Ha, he called his ex-girlfriend crazy and now he's messing around with a homewrecker? Match made in hell. I thought they were just friends. Guess that slap came quick. Evan's wholesome image is done. But others argued, they're both single, why can't they be together? Obviously he only started dating her after the breakup. CP fans celebrated, individual fans cried, and the rest of the internet had a full-on meme festival. Just as public opinion reached a boiling point, Evan's agency suddenly dropped a harsh, explosive statement, attacking Lily Lynn by name. Miss Lynn illegally entered Evan Foster's private residence in the early morning. Her behavior shows signs of violating the law. They have been out of contact for a long time. Due to persistent harassment and boundary-crossing behavior, we request Miss Lynn exercise self-restraint. Otherwise, we will take legal action. The internet detonated again. Oh my God, they exposed her directly? What the hell, she did this to herself. Those photos were probably staged by her anyway. She really lost her mind chasing clout. Poor Evan for getting stuck with a lunatic. Lawsuit please. Defend yourself, King. In the blink of an eye, Lily Lynn went from sweet Moonlight girl to the running joke of the entire internet. But some people weren't convinced. Evan is so cold. They were teammates. No need to humiliate her like that. He's famous now, of course he's too good for her. Typical. He blows up and immediately cuts off everyone who helped him climb. While the public kept arguing, another hashtag shot straight onto the hot search. Evan Foster throws prop at staff. Evan Foster outburst. The video showed Evan's face twisted in anger as he threw a prop at a staff member. What the hell? He just debuted and he's already acting like a diva? He was so talented, and now this? I'm done. He gives off terrible vibes. Minutes later, the agency scrambled to release another statement. Evan Foster is currently affected by personal matters. His mental state is unstable. We sincerely apologize for the incident. But this time, the audience wasn't so forgiving. As his arrogance and attention-seeking behavior spread like wildfire, the remaining male members of his old band suddenly opened a live stream titled 818, exposing the truth about our former top star. The moment the stream began, they all wore the look of men who had been holding back their resentment for far too long. "We've held it in long enough. Today we're saying it all," one of them slammed down. He broke up with his ex because of that Lily girl. She was all over him every day, calling him this, calling him that, acting so close you'd think they were dating. On the surface, she played innocent, like some pure white lotus, but she was scheming as hell. We warned him to keep his distance. He had a girlfriend, for God's sake. But did he listen? Nope. He said we were nosy. Said his girlfriend was too sensitive. Sure. But when it came to protecting Lily Lynn, he was all in. Thinking back now, I honestly feel bad for that girl. Top student at Evergreen University. Beautiful, talented. She was way out of his league. One green tea homewrecker, one guy playing dumb to enjoy the attention. Both of them were garbage. They hurt someone who actually loved him, and now karma's hitting them back. The group bounced off each other flawlessly, each comment sharper than the last. Their true nature, resentful, jealous, bitter, was exposed under the spotlight as clearly as day. Their envy toward Evan's fame and fortune, while they remained irrelevant nobodies, fueled their sudden burst of righteousness. They seized the chance to ride the scandal for attention, and it worked. They quickly gained sympathy and views. Online sleuths dug deeper and soon found my photos and background, along with old posts Lily Lynn had once hinted at to provoke me. Public opinion immediately flipped. Oh my God, his ex is an Evergreen University genius? National award winner? Stunning? This is the real white moonlight. She's leagues above that green tea lily by 1,000 miles. Evan is blind. She's intelligent and humble, yet got bullied by those two clowns? Poor girl. Her friend circle post from back then screamed green tea vibes. And Evan defended that woman? Actual trash behavior. Serves him right, his image collapsed. Overnight, multiple shows featuring Evan were canceled. His endorsement deals were temporarily frozen. Lily Lynn vanished completely from social media. Rumors said her company had locked her down. Meanwhile, my research project with Lucas and Wynn was entering its final phase. A few sections of the data were complicated, and no matter how I tried, the results weren't optimizing. You need to repeat this part of the algorithm here for better optimization. I hadn't even noticed Lucas standing behind me. He leaned forward, his hand closing over mine on the mouse. With a few simple steps, he fixed the issue I'd been wrestling with for half a day. Thanks, I breathed. But he didn't let go of my hand. Instead, he stayed where he was, half embracing me as he lowered his head to ask softly, "Olivia, thanking me with just words?" His warm breath brushed the shell of my ear. Then he let out a low laugh. "Using your mouth to thank me wouldn't be impossible either." And then he kissed me, so deeply I could barely breathe. "Lucas Nguyen, it's not even 3 months yet," I gasped. He chuckled, sounding both pleased and shameless, just practicing a little. God, this man was impossible. With glasses, he was a cold, ascetic scholar. Without them, he turned into someone bold, relentless, dangerously unrestrained. A complete menace. Time flew, and my study abroad program was nearing its end. Our joint research not only wrapped up perfectly, but was also submitted for an international patent, and we won the highest award. During the interview, Lucas answered in fluent English, as calm and composed as ever. His familiar cold composure returned, elegant and untouchable. "Thank you to my girlfriend," he said calmly. "During those countless long nights we fought side by side, her presence was my greatest comfort and my greatest motivation to keep going." Thunderous applause erupted from the audience. I, however, remembered very clearly what kind of comfort and motivation he was talking about. To me, those two words sounded downright indecent. For some reason, that interview clip was picked up by media back home. Once translated and shared online, it instantly went viral. A perfect example of intellectual romance. This is the real deal, Gold Boy and Jade Girl. A genius couple, winning an international award together. This is true white moonlight. The news didn't cool down at all, and it unintentionally dragged Evan Foster, who had been quiet for a while, back under the public spotlight. Coincidentally, it was graduation season. Some overly enthusiastic netizens started digging up his thesis out of curiosity. They never expected to find that several sections were almost identical to an unpublished paper, and there were obvious signs he'd hired someone to ghostwrite his entire thesis. Fraud. Fake academic. This disgrace should get kicked out of showbiz. No talent. Of course, the rise was fast and short-lived. If your brain is empty, don't pretend you can keep up with academia. On one side stood national pride, a couple who'd won an international academic award. On the other side was someone who couldn't even write his own graduation thesis. The difference was like night and day. His management tried to save him by releasing 2 new songs to shift public focus, but the reaction was bleak. People mocked him for running out of creativity. After Moonlight, he had produced nothing good. The song he once wrote for me had now become the biggest symbol of his creative bankruptcy. Public opinion spread the phrase, "A man who betrays love will fail at everything." Evan Foster's career shattered completely, and Lily Lynn? She was exposed for trying to seduce a married director in hopes of re-entering showbiz, and ended up being caught in the act by the director's wife, who barged in with witnesses. Both photos and videos spread across the internet. She became a joke, her future absolutely ruined. That day, the sky was clear and bright for my graduation. Lucas Wine wore a sharp, perfectly tailored suit and held a bouquet of white lilies of the valley. On his usually calm, self-controlled face, I saw, for the first time, the unmistakable tension of a man about to make the most important decision of his life. He took a deep breath, gathering what seemed like all his courage, and slowly knelt on one knee. "Olivia," he said softly, "will you be my lifelong partner in every research project to come, and in everything else in the future?" I burst into tears and nodded. He pulled me into a tight embrace. Not far away, behind a corner of the courtyard, stood a familiar yet distant figure, Evan Foster. He looked thinner, worn down. The once proud face was now shadowed with exhaustion. His eyes drifted past the noisy crowd and stopped on my ring finger. From that distance, neither far nor near, he whispered, "Liv, I wish you happiness." I smiled gently. "Thank you. I will be happy." He had once sworn firmly that he would marry me after graduation. But on this day, while I wore my cap and gown and received blessings from everyone around me, the ring was placed on my hand by someone else. He no longer had the right to catch up. Happiness that had once been so close was now forever out of reach. That night, moonlight spread softly across the courtyard. From behind, a strong arm wrapped around my waist and pulled me close. "I remember someone still owes me a meal," Lucas murmured. I laughed. "You still remember after all these years?" I'll eat anything you want to treat me to. This time I'll make sure it's delicious. Whatever you want." He chuckled and tightened his hold. "Really? You better keep your promise." "Of course." I turned around to face him. "How fancy do you want it? Don't tell me it's too expensive. Wagyu? Foie gras? Or..." Before I could finish, his mouth covered mine. "I want to eat you," he whispered, voice hoarse beyond control. I didn't even have time to react before the world spun. Every protest, every gasp, every last thought was swallowed whole in his long, burning kiss.